Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. In today's video we're making the simple butterfly ruched skirt. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, leave a comment below and subscribe to my channel. So I have my fabric cut out already and it's in a fold of 2. We're going to be working on the right side of the fabric and this is the front panel we're working on. I folded my fabric using my hip measurement divided by 4 plus half inch, which is 12 inches. Then the extra fabric left is for the ruffles on the side, which is about 6 inches. So I'll also be taking about half inch at the edge for folding. So I'll have about 5.5 inches left for my ruffles. So depending on you, you can decide to use 6 inches, 7 inches, depending on how full you want it to be. So for the length of the fabric, I have 40 inches cut out here. I placed my tape rule 2 inches above the starting line because I'll be having a 2 inches waistband. And I have 41 inches here because I'll be folding in at the base with 1 inch. Get the length of fabric to cut out, multiply the actual length of your skirt by 2. So for me, the actual length of my skirt is 20 inches. So I multiplied it by 2, which gave me 40 inches. So by the time I ruch the skirt on both sides, I'm going to achieve my 20 inches. So the next thing we want to do now is to place our vertical measurement. So place your tape rule 2 inches above the starting line. This is because of the waistband. So I'm going to go ahead now and mark my hip measurement. My hip measurement is 9 inches. So after drawing out my hip line, I'll come over to the waistline now and mark my round waist measurement divided by 4 plus half inch, which is 10 inches. Marking my round waist measurement divided by 4 plus half an inch, which is 10 inches. Then I'll come over to my hip line and mark my round hip measurement divided by 4 plus half an inch, which is 12 inches. So I'll go ahead now and connect the 2 points together. So after connecting the 2 points, this is what you should have. So go over to the full length of the skirt now and then take the measurement you have on your hip. For me, I have 12 inches. So I'm going to place the same 12 inches at the base of the skirt. Then I'll take my long ruler and connect the 2 points together. So connect the 2 points together from your hip down to the full length of the skirt. So after connecting, this is what we have. So because we'll be sewing directly on the right side of the fabric, I'm going to flip my fabric the other way and then mark out exactly the same measurement I have on the other side. So first I'll place my tape rule 2 inches above and mark my hip line. Then I'll go ahead now to place my round waist measurement divided by 4 plus half inches on the waistline, which is 10 inches. And I'll place my round hip measurement divided by 4 plus half inches, which is 12 inches. Then I'll place the same measurement I have on my hip line. I'll connect the 2 points together first. Then I'll place the same measurement I have on my hip line at the base of the fabric. Connect the 2 points together so that at the end of the day you have the same thing on both sides of the fabric. So right now we have the same thing marked out on both sides of the fabric. This is because we'll be sewing on the right side. So go ahead now to open up the fabric. When you open up, you should have something like this. This is our basic skirt drawn out on the front panel. So the next one we want to move to is the back panel. I have the back panel cut out already. It's exactly the same measurement with the front panel, but I have a 1 inch zip allowance at the back panel. So the first thing I want to do now is to go ahead and join the 2 pieces together. So I'm going to place the right sides facing each other like this. Then I'll go ahead now and mark the point where I want my zip to stop. So I place my tape rule 2 inches above the starting line. And I'll go ahead and mark 9 inches. So I want my zip to stop at the 9 inches mark. So when I'm sewing, I'm going to start sewing from the 9 inches mark all the way down with my 1 inch zip allowance. Then I'll leave this point open for my zip. So when I'm done with that, I'll show you guys the next thing to do. After joining the two sides, this is what we have. This is our zipper opening. So what I'm going to do now is to close up the zipper opening with my pin. This is just so that I can have an accurate measurement when I place the back and the front panel together. So after that, I'm going to place the wrong side of the back panel and the front panel facing each other. Remember, we're doing it this way because we are sewing on the right side of the fabric. So align both fabrics together. You can see after closing the zipper allowance, we have exactly the same wideness of fabric. So go ahead now to notch out the waist point on both the front and the back panel. So I'll notch it this way. So I'll also use my scissors to come in by ½ an inch on the waistline. This is just to mark the waist point. So after that, I'll take it to my sewing machine now and I'll close up the edges of the fabric. So I'll take it in by ½ an inch first and another ½ an inch. Then I'll sew it all the way around it. So I'll do the same thing for the sides. I'll fold it in ½ an inch twice and sew it all the way down. I'll do the same thing for the base. Fold it all the way down. When I'm done with that, I'll do the same thing for the back panel. So I finished up all the edges of the fabric, as you can see. So I finished it all the way down. I closed up the base and I did the same thing for the back panel. So the next thing you want to do now is to align your front and your back panel together. So after aligning them properly, take your pin and secure both pieces together. So as to avoid the fabric moving when you are marking the other measurements. So after securing both pieces together, the next thing we want to do now is to mark out our casing for our elastic. So because I'll be using a ½ inch elastic band, I'll come over to this line now and mark 0.7 inches all the way down. So I'll keep marking it all the way down. And I'll connect the points together. So this point is going to serve as our elastic casing. So I'll go ahead and repeat the same process on the other side. So after marking out on both sides of the fabric, this is what we have. So we have our elastic casing drawn out already. So I marked it all the way down to the base of the fabric. So the next thing we want to do now is to join the front and the back panel together. Remember, we're sewing directly on the right side of the fabric. So I'll sew it all the way down on the first line and sew it all the way down on the second line. So I'm going ahead now to sew on the two lines on the fabric, both on the right and on the left side. So I'm going to clean up this chalk when I'm done. So I went ahead to cut out the waistband. So it's 5 inches wide and 40 inches long. So I'm just going to go ahead now and open up the zipper allowance we closed up before to attach my waistband. To attach the waistband to the skirt, place the right side of the fabric, the right side of the waistband on the wrong side of the skirt. Then using ½ an inch sewing allowance, sew it all the way around the waistline. Join the two pieces together all around. So I'll just use my pin to secure it for illustration. So after sewing it all around, I'll go ahead and flip it over this way on the waistline, then take in another ½ an inch and then sew directly on the waistline. Sew it directly on the waistline to cover up the stitch you made initially. do it all the way around. So when I'm done with that, I'll also insert my zip and show you guys the next thing. After attaching our waistband to the skirt, this is what we have. I also went ahead to insert the zip at the back. So the next thing we want to do now is to cut out our elastic band that will be inserting into the skirt. So I have my elastic band cut out already. I cut it to the exact length of the skirt, of my skirt length, which is 20 inches. So I have my safety pin here. I have 2 pieces of it, so I'm just going to attach it to my elastic band this way. And I'll pass it through the space we have at the top of the skirt. So I'll pass it in this way. I'll keep pulling it in. So after passing it in, I'm going to use my pin now to secure the elastic at the top. So I'll use my pin to secure the elastic at the top. So I'll leave that part and go over to the other side, and then I'll pass my elastic into it. So I keep passing and pulling in the elastic into the skirt. So I'll secure the top of the elastic using my pin like I did for the other side. So we have our elastic band passed in safely into the 2 sides. So take it to your sewing machine now and secure the elastic. Sew it down that way on both sides. Then after that, go ahead to completely pass out your elastic from the base of the skirt. So after completely passing it out, I'll just go ahead and fold the elastic in this way and sew it inside the fabric. So I'll do the same thing for the other side, and I'll show you guys the finished product of the skirt. So guys, this is the finished product of our butterfly ruched skirt. You can see how beautiful it looks. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, leave a comment below, and subscribe to my channel. See you guys in my next video. Bye.